Okay, welcome to How to Lose 5 to 15 Pounds for Moms with Little Kids without cooking separate meals, spending hours in the gym, or burning out on clean eating. All right, so if you're a mom of little ones and you're surviving on, cold coffee, granola bars from your diaper bag, feeling like you are hardly ever finishing your own meal, and you're too drained to even think about what's for dinner, let alone think about how to lose weight in a way that's going to actually work for you. Um, I'm here to help. So that's what this is about. I want you to know it is possible. It's totally possible to lose 5 to 15 pounds. That's just like the range I say. I say that because it's tangible and it is often also where we get stuck, right? So it might be different for you. Maybe it's 10 pounds, maybe it's 20 pounds, whatever. But you don't have to cook completely separate meals. You don't have to commit yourself to this super intense workout regime that you're probably going to ditch, after a week because it's not sustainable. You don't need to completely overhaul everything, right? You just need a plan that fits the actual life that you have, the actual chaotic mom life that you have. And that is what I'm going to walk you through today. Okay. So we're going to talk about why maybe what you're trying right now hasn't worked or your efforts in the past haven't worked and what to do instead that's actually going to fit the rhythms and realities of your current season of life, right? Um, Before we dive right in, I want to introduce myself. So let's go here. Hi, I'm Liz. Okay. So I'm a nutritionist and health coach, and those are two different things in training for both. And I work with busy moms with little kids, right? So especially those in that really tiring, exhausting phase of like under 5 when they're really full on. And I work with moms who want to lose weight, but don't really want to track all their meals or, work out like, 10 hours a week or whatever it is, and they don't have a lot of childcare maybe to even make that possible. And they just feel like, they're kind of failing at eating well and like doing this whole healthy living thing when, after becoming a mom. So a lot of the women I work with are already trying, right? They're a lot of times eating pretty healthy, thinking about nutrition, definitely thinking about, their kids' nutrition. And but getting to the point where you're actually seeing the weight loss is tricky. It's just not happening because a lot of times, they just don't have a plan that's actually going to work while they are trying to keep another human alive, right? When, your toddler's screaming and when you haven't peed alone all day or like had a minute to yourself in like, sometimes several days, right? So the stuff that has kind of worked before for us isn't working anymore. And that's when people come to me. So what I do is basically create clarity and simplicity. And I just help moms to sort of stop feeling like they're doing it all wrong and, they're the problem. Um, and I really care about this work because I've been there. Like I have 2 little kids and I used to work in medical clinics helping with people with weight management and diabetes and working alongside doctors and things. And, back then I was just like, here's the plan, like here's what to do. And then when I had kids, I realized that all the things that I was teaching people to do were 10 times harder than they had ever been before. And they were also at the same time feeling more important than they ever had before because I did care a lot about how my body felt and looked. And I wanted to feel really good, as I was like taking care of my kids and like in this season of life that requires a lot of energy. I wanted to have energy. I wanted to feel good. So all these things that like, it just became really real. And I just thought, okay, this is a time of life when moms really need support because, yeah, like I said, it's never been harder, but it's never been more important, right? So if you've felt any of that before, I want you to know you're in the right place. And I want to talk about what we're going to learn today. So I'm going to walk you through this 4-pillar system. It's kind of like my signature approach that helps moms with young kids lose 5, 10, 15, 20 pounds, feel like yourself again. Even if you've already tried things, right? If you've tried intermittent fasting, clean eating, going back to your old, pre-kids workout plan and it's just like not lasting or it's just not feeling like it's working. Um, This whole approach is not about doing more and like being more strict and like adding more to your plate. It's really about finding some relief, right? It's about giving you some simplicity in all of this and just helping you focus on the right things, um, so that you can actually see the results, right? Okay, so what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about, this four pillar system, and within that, how to stabilize energy and cravings without cutting out carbs, without cutting out sugar, without cutting out food groups, and that's sort of that like nourishment piece. How to make healthy eating actually easier and more repeatable by embracing, building in simple skills. Why awareness and curiosity can be more effective and is definitely more effective than, embracing diet rules or diet culture. Um, and also talk about how to create capacity with the right lifestyle habits. So creating capacity so that everything feels easier, so that you have more energy, and also enlisting strategic support so that weight loss, becomes a reality even in the chaos, even in the thick of it, how to use support the right way. Okay, so let's just, before we get into that, make sure that this is really for you. So this is this presentation is specifically for you if you are trying to eat nutritious meals, but it's not really creating weight loss. Okay, maybe you've tried to get back on track, but your life with little kids keeps derailing you. I definitely know how that feels. You're mentally exhausted and you've just like have a lot of mental, things spinning, like that never-ending to-do list, and you just kind of want someone to give you a system, a framework, a thing to do that's just going to work for your life. And maybe you feel like you've lost yourself a little bit in the chaos of motherhood and you want your energy, your body, and your confidence back. Now, I will say this isn't for you if you want a really quick fix, if you want some sort of like cleanse or detox or really strict calorie counting plan. That's not what this is. So if you are more ready for something that kind of fits the season of life that you're in, not the season that you wish you were in, not the like fantasy season, not you when you were, 20 years old and had all this time to meal prep and go to the gym for hours. I think this is going to be really helpful for you. So let's talk about why maybe the things that you've already tried aren't working, um, and what's keeping you stuck. Okay, so maybe you've tried things like skipping breakfast or lunch, feeling like you are barely eating, and then, often that results in raiding the pantry at 3 o'clock, or, after dinner, after the kids go to bed, eating a lot because you're just exhausted, right? Um, Trying to eat more protein because the internet told you to. And I'm certainly not against protein, but this is like a really common thing that people try. Doesn't always work. It's kind of a piece of a larger strategy. Attempting to squeeze in like these really intense formal workouts, but burning out and getting derailed within a week, right? Really good intentions, but suddenly your kid needs you, and or has to get picked up from daycare or whatever it is, and that's just, it's not going to happen anymore, right? So yeah, following what used to work, going to the gym for hours, meal prepping, but your life now just doesn't allow for it. So these are the things that maybe you have tried, and like I can fully understand why this is frustrating. Um, and you're not doing it wrong. Like these are not necessarily bad things, but they're not working for you, right? And so you just need a different approach. And I think that, most approaches that we've tried in the past, it's like we just want to try what already worked before, and that's typically a good thing, except for when your life completely changes because now you're a mom, right? And a lot of plans don't take into account the mental load, the lifestyle of being a mom, the constant decision making, the exhaustion, the emotional roller coaster that can be motherhood. So let's reframe this. It's not your fault. And you might have just been told to eat less, move more, and it just that advice just doesn't hold up, right? It doesn't work when you are kind of maxed out, your sleep is broken, you're doing 800 things for, different people before like 9 in the morning or even earlier, let's be real. So you are not, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not lazy. If you haven't been able to lose this weight yet, you just are carrying a mental load. You're a mom. You have a lot going on, and nobody has really taught you how to eat and live in a way that supports that and weight loss in this season of life for you, right? It's not about a lack of willpower. A lot of plans will just sort of treat you as if you have a blank slate, like you have endless willpower and you don't have a million other decisions to be making. You don't have other people to be taking into consideration. And that just doesn't work. So that's not the approach I take. I understand that you are a smart, more than capable woman who is just doing a lot of other things. And, weight loss is just not happening in the way that it used to because your life is different now. Okay. So I want to show you what does work. I've been doing this for a long time. And this is the framework that I sort of have landed on. And it's based on habits. So basically, we start with habits because it's evidence-based, right? So weight loss programs that focus on building new habits actually work, right? Research has found that when people develop positive habits, they can achieve like lasting weight loss. Okay. So habit-based approaches are more likely to result in clinically meaningful weight loss, first of all, about 5% reduction or more, at least, that's in body weight, compared to those who don't follow programs like that, um, less clinically meaningful results. And people who follow a habit-based approach are much more likely to keep the weight off after, quote unquote, the program. So here's kind of how I look at it. We are kind of building a foundation of habits, and these habits fall into different categories. We've got nourishment, so that's about food. We've got skills, like building these skills that then become routines and habits. And then we have balance. So those are habits that are more about lifestyle, right? And then we have support, which are habits where we can enlist outward support. Okay. So all of these things create this beautiful foundation for us. And like I said, because of this, it lasts. Like the way that I see it, it's not about just giving you a plan to follow to a T, because like you might have been able to do that in your 20s, but you probably can't do that now. I know I certainly can't do anything like that. And so it's about creating this foundation of habits, and really, like, I like to think of it as like becoming the person, not just who can lose the weight, but who can maintain that weight loss and actually enjoys maintaining that weight loss. And we do that through building really supportive habits. Okay, so we're going to go through these. So the first pillar is nourish. Okay, and that maybe is no surprise. And so, yeah, most moms that I work with don't need another complicated meal plan. They don't need like a macro tracking plan, although, there's a time and a place for looking at your numbers. But really, it's about eating in a way that supports your energy and your like your output as a mom. Like you need a lot of fuel. And I always like to say, like, we might not all be professional athletes, but we can understand this concept that if a professional athlete doesn't eat in a certain way, they're not going to get the result. They're not going to perform to their highest ability. And it's the same thing for all of us, but it's certainly true for mom life, right? If you want to perform as a mom, you want to be the best that you can be, that requires a certain amount of, intentionality with your nutrition. And so it's not about complicated diet rules. It's not about anything being off limits. Oh, throwing my microphone around. But I just teach moms how to fuel themselves effectively so that you have the energy to thrive in your mom life and avoid cravings. So we're not going to be eating toast crusts and goldfish crackers for lunch anymore. And we do this in a way that doesn't require a lot of brain power. And really this is like where this is where moms start to go, okay, I don't have the cravings that I used to anymore. And like, I actually have energy in the day. So this pillar is very, very important. We always kind of start with it. Now, the next one is about skills. So now that we've kind of Now that we've kind of established that foundation of consistent nourishment, we move into the phase or the pillar of skills. So this is all about putting things on autopilot. So instead of rules and restrictions, we're building habits that feel supportive, help you get to where you want to go without a lot of friction. Sometimes we don't think about nutrition in terms of skills, but really the things, I always like to say, the thing about nutrition is knowing things about nutrition is pretty much useless. It's a very practical thing. If you don't do the things, if you don't, have the food, if you don't know how to prepare it, if you don't have a plan, if you don't actually eat the food, you don't get the result from it, right? So knowing things is not what we're after. We're actually about like making it happen. And so simplifying these skills, simplifying things like, for instance, meal planning, meal prepping, a number of other things that maybe you've tried before and it's felt too complicated. We're going to simplify it and so that you can actually do it despite the chaos of your life. And I'm not not to brag, this is one of my superpowers is helping people take something that's really felt overwhelming and like too much for them and break it down into really tangible bite-sized, action steps that you can start to really build momentum from. So, one of my clients told me, for instance, that the process of kind of changing your habits in this way and like adopting these new skills just worked better for her life. And so, and actually just started to feel more natural. So she wouldn't consider going back to her old habits because her new habits actually felt easy and they actually supported her weight loss goals more than her old ones, right? So it's a different vibe than white knuckling it, trying to like be really good with your nutrition. It's like, okay, no, how do I break this down so I can do the things that are going to support me? And then eventually those things become so easy and simple and autopilot that it's effortless, right? So we drop the overwhelm, we drop the perfectionism, and we want you to be super successful. So my next pillar falls into this same category because it is a skill, but it is distinctly different. We kind of approach it differently because it's a mental skill. And this is mindful curiosity. So this is all about overcoming the subtle, kind of not so helpful habits like mindless eating, emotional cravings, late night snacking. And we really work on emphasizing, recognizing hunger cues, understanding the difference between needing food and needing something else, right? Like rest or like connection or play or like these things that sometimes we can't get a lot of in mom life and end up sort of we reach for food instead, right? So this is where we make peace with food. It's not about guilt or strict rules. It's really just about developing that awareness. And again, it's a skill, so we practice this. And this is really where people, my clients start to feel a lot more in control around food and a lot more like they can trust themselves and they develop this kindness towards themselves, which is really beautiful as well and very important in terms of behavior change. So it's a big part of what we do. It's like a subcategory of the second pillar here because it is a skill, but it sort of bleeds into everything. Okay, so pillar 3 is balance. So this is where um, we really focus on lowering your mental load by increasing capacity, right? So it's kind of a backwards way to think of it, not a backwards, like a different way to think of it. Instead of trying to lower the things that you have to do in your day and like the decisions that you need to make. Sure, there's a time and a place for that, but can we actually increase your capacity by, focusing on the habits that are actually going to increase your energy and increase your mental capacity? So things like stress management, sleep, movement, creating an environment that really supports you. This isn't about adding more to your plate, but helping you become the mom who has more to give. And so, again, this is a very holistic approach. We're not just looking at your food, we're not just looking at your exercise, we're looking at your whole entire lifestyle and where we can strategically incorporate these pieces of balance that are going to make weight loss happen more easily for you. And sometimes that really is, we really do need to focus on things like stress management and things like movement, not in the sense that movement is really the thing that creates weight loss, because it typically isn't, but it can be the thing that creates energy, or it can be the thing that creates, relieves mental stress or whatever. So we're looking at, every plan is very personalized, but these are the sorts of things that we're going to look at and make sure that your whole entire life is supporting your weight loss. Okay. And then the next phase is strategic support. So I think a lot of programs overlook this. You're not inconsistent because you don't care. You're inconsistent because you're doing it all. You're doing all the things. And then you are expecting yourself to go like above and beyond and then take care of yourself, right? Like we have these crazy expectations of ourselves and we don't often receive a lot of support for these things, right? So this is where we're going to look at all kinds of external ways that we can get support. So we're looking at personalized supplements, specific foods, lab work, creating the right kind of environment, community. This is where I might recommend other practitioners or different types of support that maybe you haven't thought of. Coaching, right? Accountability. Uh, we always hear about how we need a village to raise our kids. And I mean, let's be real, most of us don't even have that, let alone what it takes to care for the mom and to take care of ourselves when we are balancing so many responsibilities. So I really don't think that you need more motivation. I think that often moms just need more support. And this is, it's kind of up to us to create it, but we can. And it helps a lot. Okay, so this is why it's like such a key part of my approach. So now that you have sort of seen the framework, so we've got the habits, we've got all these different types of habits, and they all work together beautifully to create this environment where losing weight feels sustainable, it feels doable, it feels good from like a mental standpoint and a physical standpoint. Um, and so let's look at the results. All right, so here is what happens when you stop trying to be perfect and start working with the rhythms of your real mom life, okay? So these are some of my favorite messages from clients over the last little bit. Let's see, so for instance, this one here, this mom was actually working out like 5 days a week and being super consistent, but it was not working. She didn't feel like she looked like she worked out. And we put her through the program and kind of made some tweaks with her nutrition and got her kind of into a more balanced place. And she's like, I'm losing weight in such a sustainable, healthy way. She lost 15 pounds. I think she continued on to lose more than that after that. And then this one here, she was doing Noom before having kids, and then she found that, you know, uh, like just wasn't sustainable. Like it helped her. It was a lot of work, and I remember her being kind of nervous, being like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to crack that, weight loss that I experienced with Noom, but just through doing the program and just making these tweaks and going through these different pillars, we, got her to lose more weight than she even lost with Noom without calorie counting. And like, just to be really real with you guys, like, I don't even think that this client was, um, she wasn't even exercising. Okay. So it's not like you don't have to be like perfect at all of this to see the results. And, yeah, so these are like really real people and they have real lives. And she was just too busy to exercise, and we still got her to where she wanted to be. And then here's another one. This was a client who had tried so many things. Like she was really nervous to sign up because I remember her just thinking like saying to me like I've worked with trainers, I've done so many different programs and nothing's ever stuck. And actually as a result, she had a really kind of negative relationship with food, which is really common. Um, and so I remember her being like crying in our last session and just going like, I didn't think that I would ever get to this point where I felt so much peace around food and also was seeing the results that I wanted with my body. And so that was really cool to see because I always think if you're going to be doing any nutrition plan, it really should be improving your relationship with food at the same time as you're getting the physical results that you want, right? And again, I talked about this client already. She was like, I wasn't forcing myself into a mold. It was personalized for my goals, lifestyles, preferences, and I just replaced my old habits with better ones. And that's really what we're doing. And it's a process that, it's like I said, it's evidence-based and it works and it feels a lot different than going on a diet. Um, and I remember she was getting ready for her wedding, and she was like, I'm just feeling really good that she was able to make all these changes and feel really good on her wedding day. Um, and then this was a client, this was a nurse. She had three kids. One of them was pretty high needs, a lot going on. And we worked on improving her mindset, getting her eating consistently, creating, some simple habits around like meal planning that were just repeatable. And she actually texted me like last week and she said, I'm still losing weight. I'm not tracking my food. I'm feeling amazing and just want to thank you for the program. And so, just the simple tweaks that we made just make that lasting impact for a mom who is really overwhelmed, right? Really overloaded with all the things. And so that's kind of like what is possible. So again, these are real moms. They have real busy, full lives. They have, a lot going on and challenges just like you and I do. And they were able to see results. They didn't need some kind of miracle plan. It wasn't like anything crazy. They just needed an approach that actually worked for their life and someone to walk them through it, which is exactly what I want to invite you into. Okay, so if you're thinking, yes, 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 this is actually kind of something that I need, I want to invite you to apply for my nutrition coaching program, the Nourished Mom Program. So this program is designed for moms, obviously. It's designed to help you lose 5 to 15, 20 pounds in a way that feels doable, flexible, nourishing, not overwhelming. Okay, so inside we're going to create a custom plan for you based on your life, your needs, your goals. It's not like, even though we have the overarching framework, there's a lot of one-on-one support. And so it's not a generic one size fits all thing. It's not a restriction, it's not a plan that's based on restriction. It's just support. It's evidence-based, realistic, doable, and it just fits the season of mom life that you're in. So if this is resonating with you, I want to tell you about the next step. So you can click the link below. I'll leave a link below this video to apply for the program. It's just a short questionnaire. You'll answer that and send it in, and I will review it to make sure that it's a good fit. And I will then send you a link. Either you can book in right away and get your initial session on the calendar, or we can book a quick free strategy call just to talk about like how the program might work for you. No pressure. If I can help, I will tell you, and I will tell you how. And if not, I will also let you know. So um, I would be really happy to support you. Finally, I will just leave you with this. You're not failing. You're not broken. You're not lazy. I'm going to say it's probably not your hormones. It's probably not a broken metabolism, and you probably don't need any fancy, magic bullet supplements. Um, Most likely you're a mom that has been doing a lot of things and you need an approach that and some support that can help you get back to feeling your best. Okay. So I really feel strongly that moms deserve this kind of support. I know we deserve all kinds of support, and this is sort of the a small piece of what, is the thing that I can offer to moms. And so I consider it a privilege to do this work. And if it seems like something that you would need and that you could benefit from, I would love to help you. So thank you for spending this time with me. I hope that it showed you a little bit of what's possible, gave you a little bit of hope that it doesn't need to be complicated or restrictive, and weight loss can actually feel good. Um, I know this word is so cringe, but it can actually feel empowering. And yeah, if you're kind of in that place where you're like, I'm finally ready to do this, I'm finally ready to get the help and support to lose the weight that I want to. I mean, I'm not saying everybody has to lose weight or get back to, pre-baby shape or anything like that, but a lot of us want to. A lot of us want to feel like ourselves again after having kids. And so I am here to help if that's you. And like I said, you can apply below, or just send me a DM on Instagram, and I'm also happy to just chat with you there. And I would be thrilled to support you. So thanks again for being here, and I will see you later.